Article 6 of the 1987 Constitution vested in a bicameral body which is composed of two houses. First off is the House of Senate. Second is the House of Representatives. The Congress of the Philippines is the country's highest lawmaking body. So legislative is essentially the authority of the government to enact laws, repeal, or amend them as well. Senate, headed by the Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile, composed of 24 senators elected at large by qualified voters for a period of 6 years. The House of Representatives, headed by Speaker of the House Feliciano Belmonte Jr., composed of not more than 250 members. So the party list representatives composed of not more than 50 members. Qualifications of the members of the Legislative Department. For the Senate, a natural-born citizen of the Philippines at least 35 years of age, able to read and write, a registered voter, a resident of the Philippines for not less than 2 years immediately preceding the day of the election, term of office 6 years and a maximum of 2 terms. For the House of Representatives, a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, at least 25 years old, able to read and write, a registered voter, a resident of the district for a period of no less than 1 year preceding the day of the election, term of office 3 years, maximum of 3 terms. So the party's nominee, a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, a registered voter, a resident of the Philippines, able to read and write, a bona fide member of the party. A nominee shall come from a disadvantaged group of citizens which are organized and duly registered to the COMELEC at least 25 years of age on the election day. The primary duties or functions of the department: one who make any type of law, repeal, delete, or change the law, oversees the execution of this law, and checks various executive and judicial privileges of the legislative department. Right to salary, freedom to speech and debate the question, freedom from arrest while the Congress is in session, parliamentary immunity. The aim of this privilege is to facilitate that members of the Congress can effectively discharge their functions without provisions restraints. The checks of the legislative department over the departments. So may override presidential votes with a two-thirds vote, has the power over the purse string to actually fund any executive actions, may remove the president through impeachment, Senate approves treaties, Senate approves presidential appointments. Creates lower courts, may remove judges through impeachment, Senate approves appointments of judges. Provisions of the Legislative Department. Increase appropriations recommended by Executive Branch. Pass tax exemptions without the concurrence of majority of the members. Grant titles of nobility. Pass bills of attainder. No senator member may personally appear as counsel before any court of justice or before the electoral tribunals, quasi-judicial and administrative bodies. Any member shall not either directly, indirectly show financial. Other functions of the Legislative Department. Kinds of elections. So they have regular elections. It shall be held on the second Monday of May. Congress may be allowed provided otherwise. If the election is held beyond the term of office, the members of the Congress cannot hold over. The purpose of the election is to give the people an opportunity to renew or withhold their mandate on elected officials. So special elections, it may be called in case of vacancies arises in the Senate or House of representatives to fill such a vacancy in a manner prescribed by the law. So the holding of the special election is not made mandatory by the Constitution. Session of Congress. We have the regular, special, executive. Regular shall convene once every year on the fourth Monday of July. Special, it takes place when the President calls Congress during the time that it is in recess. Executive, secret meetings of Congress or any of its committees. So, power of Congress. Over and above the power to make laws and to pass resolutions, to approve appointments made by the President through Commission of Appointments, to decide cases of electoral protest, to declare the existence of a state of war, to ratify treaties upon two-thirds votes of all members of Congress voting separately. To grant the President emergency powers in times of war and national distress, to provide for the rule of presidential succession, to concur to a grant of amnesty by the President, to exercise the power to override the vote power of the President, to hear and decide cases of impeachment against high officials. To exercise the power to amend or revise the Constitution, to prescribe, define, and apportion the jurisdiction of lower courts, to determine or apportion seats of legislative districts, the power to tax, the power to determine the disability of the President and the Vice President. To break a knot in case when there is a tie for the position of a President of the Republic, to cancel or extend martial law, to investigate in aid of legislation, to approve the annual budget of the government as prepared by the executive, to determine rules of proceedings, and more. Component parts of the law. So, title refers to the subject matter of the law or the act carried by the legislative department and the executive. Preamble introduces their objectives for the enactment of the act and explains the general reason for such legislation. Enacting clause refers to the collective and distinct will of both houses. Body pertains to the total substances. Steps in passage of a bill. So we have the first reading, second reading, floor debates, printing and distribution, third reading, transmitted to the other house, submission to joint bicameral committee, approval of consolidated bill by both houses, submission to the President. So resolution, formal expression of opinion, will or intent by an official body or assembled group. Use of resolution. Resolutions are employed with respect to matters within the exclusive authority of the law-making body and do not therefore require the approval of the President for their effectively. Thus, the rules of the proceeding of a law-making body, orders imposing some penalty upon any of its members, or proposal for constitutional amendments would be embodied in resolutions. They are also used when a lawmaking body expresses an attitude or opinion. Thus, resolutions would be proper expressing condolences on the death of a member of a high government official or declaring its opinion on important rules. So, kinds of resolutions we have the simple, passed by other houses, concurrent, passed independently in one house, joint, approved by both houses. So there is no provision in the Constitution requiring approval by the President of any kind of resolution. When will a bill may become a law? When the President approves the bill by signing it, when the President votes the bill and the same is already in two-thirds votes, when the President does not communicate his veto within 30 days after the date of receipt. Kinds of resolutions. simple, concurrent, and joint. Simple passed by two houses, concurrent passed independently by one house, joint approved by both houses, meeting in joint session but voting separately. So appropriations, there are in appropriations bills, there are general appropriation, special appropriation, specific appropriation, and the continuing appropriation. So general appropriation is the annual budget, special is the supplemental appropriation contained in the budget, specific is the appropriation that set aside a fixed amount of money. Continuing appropriation refers to the name amount of money which, when not appropriated at the end of the fiscal year, shall automatically be accrued for the next calendar year. So revenue or tariff bills is that when imposed revenues or customs duties for specific purposes. Being authorizing income of the public debt, essentially a bill which facilitates the government to issue bonds and reforms and indebtedness. Bill of local bill that regulates local or municipal appropriation. Private bill, a bill that affects purely private interests. Termination of members of Congress. Voluntary renunciation of the office. Forfeiture of a seat of member in Congress during incumbency in case when he or she takes unlawful subdivision, agency, or instrumentality of government-owned or controlled corporation. A penalty of suspension to serve a member of the Congress for disciplinary action as determined by the House. And a trial tribunal through a resolution may disqualify a member of the Congress from election conduct.
What are your major achievements as a provincial board member?
Which carries of the House.
Board member?
Interview with some reserve
Board member? Okay, as a vice mayor, sir.
Mayor, Cebu City Vice Mayor. Sa last 4 years, nagtrabaho education man. So mostly nasa education field. Nagtrabaho. So Vice Mayor, bago pumunta ka lingkod, we continue to work on education matters.
So, what are your major plans during this term, sir?
Well, to continue our works in education, there's still a lot of things that needs to be done. No? Ang problema mo, dito ni masolbad. So, sige na dito taon, manimuha ng matabangan na to.
Sir. So, is it hard to be a public servant?
So, you cannot please everybody.
So, is there an increase in your assets, sir? Is there an increase in your asset?
Increase in what?
In your assets, sir?
Assets?
Yes.
What do you mean? Financial? Well, yeah, I'm a businessman. We increase every year.
So, are you promoting patriotism to your people or even encouraging them to buy your own products, sir?
No?
So, what can you say about political dynasty?
It's not very healthy. It should be part of some kind of control.
So, what actions can you do in political dynasty, sir?
What action can I do?
Yes, sir.
Nothing much I can do. It needs a national law.
So, what are your programs that would align to current administration no wang-wang policy, sir?
Ang problema na kay Cebu, huwag kayo magamit na ng mga na ang mga program may kayo, the first Manila may kayo.
So, as a vice mayor, sir, what is your major role, sir?
Major role is to manage the Sangguniang Provincial. City Council ba?
So, that's all, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you sa kaya. Good luck sa inyo.